Shalom Israel. Today we're going to preach about who Esau is of the Bible. But before we do that, we want to give double honors to the apostles and all the brothers and sisters preaching this word in truth and sincerity. And yeah, we're just going to get into this lesson. But before that, we're going to... So yeah, bring out the precept, starting at verse 21.
So this is the book of Genesis, chapter 25, starting at verse 21. And it reads, "And Isaac entreated the Lord Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren, and the Lord Yahweh was entreated of him. And Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord Yahweh." Verse 23. "And the Lord Yahweh said unto her, Two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels."
It says two nations are in her womb, and two manner of people are separated from her bowels.
"And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger."
So that's in reference to Jacob. Jacob's going to be stronger than Esau, and Esau, the elder, shall serve the younger. I mean, what did he say this? Yeah, the elder shall serve the younger. So Esau was the one that came out first. So essentially Esau is going to serve Jacob.
Verse 24. "And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb." Verse 25. "And the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment."
First came out red, all over like a hairy garment. So who's that in reference to? That's a reference to a Caucasian baby. When a Caucasian child comes out the womb of his mother, it comes out red.
"And they called his name Esau."
And notice how it said, all red like a hairy garment. So that's a reference to the Caucasian, because who's known for being hairy? The Caucasian. We're going to further expound on this in other verses.
That's an airplane.
No, it's not. That's a chariot, bro. It's moving. It's a chariot.
It's a chariot because a temple will flash, you will see it.
Oh!
Yeah, that's a chariot. Carry on now.
Wow. Go down to verse 27.
Verse 27.
Start from verse 27.
"And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau." Verse 26. Verse 26. "And after that, verse 26. "And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare him." "And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a paid man, dwelling in tents."
So it says Esau was a cunning hunter, a man in the field. That's the Caucasian right there, because the Caucasian likes being in the field. The Caucasian is naturally a daredevil, you know. Further expound.
Yeah, so verse 27. "And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents."
So yeah, going back to what we said, yeah, Esau's naturally, the Caucasian man's naturally a daredevil. That's why he likes going hunting, he likes going to hunt deer, you know, he likes going airplane skydiving, he likes telling his habitation was in caves. Esau's a man of the field. The Caucasian man's a man of the field. You know, he likes being in the field. But so Jacob was a smooth man. That's a reference to our people. Because our people just like to chill, you know. We don't like being out there, you know, in the fields or in the wilderness. That's what Esau likes to do. That's why Esau has an affinity with animals, with foxes, with lions. That's why Esau works in the zoos. Because he's a man of the field. That's his habit. That's his natural habitat. You know, we don't. If I see a fox, I ain't trying to touch no fox. I ain't trying to be around a fox. You know.
I see Esau with a fish, right? When they're trying to put a fish in the box.
Right. And even a lot of these Edomite women too, they have sex with dogs. You know, they still do to this very day.
They do something with the dogs as well.
Right.
This Edomite girl, I want to like, she saw some dogs, like, oh, they're so cute. say they're too small. And you say, I love them big.
There you go.
She knows what she's saying.
And they like kissing dogs as well.
Yeah.
A lot of Edomites like kissing their dogs, proper tongue in their, they like tonguing their dogs in their lips.
And that's what Jake likes. That's what Jake run after. Jake is true, man.
Right.
So, and just to further perpetuate what the brother is actually, what the brother's preaching, you know, and that's why you have a lot of Edomites, because also the scripture says that the Edomites, the Esau is the man of the fields, and that's why have you noticed that a lot of Edomites, they can firm the cold weather a lot more than Jake's can. That's why you see a lot of Edomites in short sleeves when it's extremely cold weather.
And also, when you're at work and it's cold, they'll put the cooler on. Now you go to war with them because of that, man. They'll put the cooler on and it's cold, bro. What kind of animal is this?
and that's why. And also he says, Jacob was a man dwelling in tents. So you know, cold weather. We can't have cold weather. We just there's a common theme amongst our people that we just have difficulty when it comes to cold weather. That's when we're all coated up. That's why we tend to have thermals. You know, we're very sensitive to cold weather.
Yeah, our people need the sun. Esau doesn't need the sun. He doesn't necessarily need the sun. Even when you go on a night out and you see all these Edomites, you see these Edomite women in their dresses. Their dresses are here. They got the what do you call it? Yeah, the dresses around their armpits. Listen, they're not cold. They're not shivering like this. You see the Jake women, they're shivering. When they're queuing up in the line to go clubbing, they're shivering. The Edomite woman ain't shivering. The Caucasian woman ain't shivering out there in the lines to go clubbing. She's just cool. She's cool, calm and collected.
Bro, they're like polar bears, man.
Right.
You know? Verse 28.
They're cold like a reptile.
Verse 28. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. 29. And Jacob sowed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. Verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom.
So yeah, Esau in the scriptures is another. He received another name called Edom. So he's also known as Edom in the scriptures. So bring out Genesis 27, starting at verse 11. And Edom in the Hebrew also means red. That's a reference. That's also a reference to the complexion of Esau's skin.
The book of Genesis, chapter 27, verse 11. And Jacob said to Rebekah, sorry, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 27, verse 11. And Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. Verse 12. My father peradventure.
So yeah, it says, Esau my brother is a hairy man, but I am a smooth man. And again, that's in reference to the Caucasian. The Caucasian are very hairy people, especially when they were dwelling in the caves. They had an excessive amount of body hair, you know. But now they shaved down a bit. But you still see remnants of Esau with hair all over their body, down their back, all over their arms, down their legs. They're very hairy.
Verse 12. My father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. Verse 13. And his mother said unto him, upon me be thy curse, my son, only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. Verse 14. He went and fetched, and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savoury meat, such as his father loved. Verse 15. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob, her younger son. Verse 16. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands, and upon the smooth of his neck.
So it says, read that again, the goats and the skins.
And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands, and upon the smooth of his neck.
Put the skins of the goat here upon his hand and upon his neck. Why is that? Because the context of the story is the fact that Isaac was blind. He was a blind man, and he wanted venison from the field. And because Esau was a man of the field, he sent out Esau to go get venison, and his mother caught onto that. So she said, Jacob, go and do what your father told Esau to do. But in order for him not to know it's you have to put the goat skin on your arms and on your neck. So when he touches you, he feels that goat skin. And what's the goat skin in reference to? The excessive body health Esau. And goat skin, what's goat skin? That's stringy hair. The Caucasian has stringy hair like goat skin. We have woolly hair. Caucasian has stringy hair like a goat. Now bring out Genesis 37, 36, starting at verse 9. Starting at verse 6.
36 is starting at verse 6, yeah. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 36, verse 6. And Esau took his wives, and his sons, and his daughters, and all the persons of his house, and his cattle, and all his beasts, and all his substance, which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob. Verse 7. For their riches were more than they that they might dwell together, and the land wherein they were strangers could not bear them because of their cattle. Verse 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir.
So
Esau is Edom.
So Esau dwelt in Mount Seir. That's a mountainous region that's a mountainous region in the Middle East. That's the white man's natural habitat. Even when you do research conventional history of the white man's history, you will see that he dwelt in the Caucasus Mountains. That's the caves and the Russian steppes. That's their natural habitat. And also the definition for the Hebrew word for seir is shaggy and hairy. And Esau has shaggy hair. He's hairy and he has shaggy hair. And what's shaggy in reference to? That shaggy is Scooby-Doo. That's a white man. Because the white man knows who he is. So he puts these little clues in these cartoons and these movies to really show you who he is. So bring out Obadiah verse 1, starting at verse 1 down to verse 4.
Obadiah 1 verse 4. This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, starting at verse 4. Thou shalt exalt thyself as the eagle.
Go down.
And
Start verse 1.
Okay, this is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 1. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God Yahweh concerning Edom.
So this is a prophecy of Esau.
Ye have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us raise up against her in battle. Verse 2. Behold, I made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised.
So yeah, a lot of nations despise Esau. A lot of nations despise the soul of the white man. Why? Because the white man's conquered, he's basically conquered a lot of the Aboriginal races, like the Aboriginal Australians, the Native Americans. He's conquered a lot of lands. He's colonized the Hamitic nations in Africa. So a lot of them despise him. I even have an Eritrean friend. I even had an Eritrean friend, a Cushite friend. He told me that if a white man goes to Eritrea, they will send spies. Yeah. The Eritreans will send spies to spy on the white man because they don't trust him.
Wow.
Verse 3. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee.
So yeah, Esau's very prideful, because he thinks that he was ruling Europe during the medieval times. He believes that he believes everyone. He believes he was the Egyptians. He believes that he was the Israelites. He believes everything. He believes all these things.
Goddamn liar!
Without no
He's
proof.
a liar, man.
Exactly, he's a liar. And they've came up with all these fake artifacts and all these fake whitewash portraits to give people the illusion that the white man was ruling in these regions, but they weren't.
He deceived the whole world. The Bible ain't lying,
And so yeah, that's why Esau's pride right now. That's why Esau's pride is so high right now, because Esau actually thinks that was them doing all that shit. He thinks he was the Spartans. He thinks he was the Vikings. He thinks that he was the Brits, the Irish. He wasn't none of that. Exactly. He thinks he was the Egyptians. He was nothing but serfs,
So the pride of thine heart have deceived thee, that thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock.
Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks. That goes back to his habitat in Mount Seir, or in the Caucasus regions, in the caves. That's what it's a reference to.
Whose habitation is high.
Whose habitation is high. So Esau likes building these high monuments. Esau likes these high buildings. He likes things that are high. For whatever reason, he likes higher things. That's why Esau made these helicopters, the planes, because he likes these higher regions.
Bro,
and even when you go to the Caucasus Mountains, that's a higher region, you know.
Whose habitation is high, that's safe in his heart. Who shall bring me down to the ground?
So the Caucasian elite, the so-called Caucasian elite, they think they're going to be ruling forever. That's why they're introducing the Maxine and all these things, because they think that they're going to be ruling forever, but that's just not the case.
Verse 4. Thou that exalt thyself as the eagle, and thou set thy nest among the stars.
Though thou set thy nest among the stars. That's why the white man, the so-called white man's always trying to go up to the moon. You know, he's trying to build these rockets. He's always trying to what do you call it?
Satellites.
Yeah, satellites. Yeah. Because that's what it's in reference to, the moons amongst the stars, right? So that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to build these rocket ships to go to the moon, etc., etc.
Got precept, yeah. This is Psalms 49, verse 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and they call their dwelling place after to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Now, I remember how you were saying how basically they believe that this place is going to continue forever, man. You know, like Esau believes that this whole entire place is going to continue forever, but it's going to come to an end, man.
Right.
You know, kind of, that's what I want to touch on.
Yeah, right. Exactly. He thinks this is going to last forever. That's why he's trying to introduce these transhumanism ideologies. He's trying to make man, half robot, because he's trying to be like the Most High. Exactly. It goes back to the Terminator. He's trying to be like the Most High. He's trying to accrue the spiritual power that he lacks.
That's right.
That's just what.
Bring that out, man.
He's trying to be like Jake, because it all goes back to Jacob and Esau, because Jacob attained the blessing, the birthright, you know, and that's just all it is. So bring out 2nd Ezra's.
The first book, yeah?
The sixth book.
This is the second book of Ezra, starting at verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. Verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of that followeth.
Esau's the end of the world. So everyone that reads and adheres to the scriptures and actually divides the word of truth knows that we're in the last days. And what's this current ruling structure is under the so-called Caucasian elite. So this is pretty plain. And obviously the kingdom that's the righteous kingdom, the kingdom of the Most High that's coming afterwards with Yahushua as ruler, that's going to be our kingdom, the kingdom for the elect to Jacob. So that's pretty clear. I mean, who else is ruling right now?
Yeah, I mean, come on, man.
Right.
Sometimes you have to look, this wisdom, this knowledge deals with logic. You know, sometimes you have to just use logic and common sense to understand the scripture, man. Right. Like you say yourself, who else is ruling right now?
Right.
Okay? If you can determine that through the Bible that, you know, the next rulership is the Negro rulership, who else was ruling before the Negro rulership came into power?
Right.
Esau,
exactly.
It's that simple, man.
That's simple.
But brothers don't want to understand that. Brothers, you know, they just, why are you talking about Esau like that?
And one thing that's very powerful is how the brother brought a powerful point, because Esau is ruling the world, man. Because here's Esau, he's in different continents of the earth, man. And Esau's in South Africa. Esau's in South Africa, Esau's in Australia, he's in Europe, he's in America, man. Different continents, man. So this man is ruling the earth.
This is Esau.
Right, that's the spirit, right?
He's a jacked up, full of demons, but he's telling us to study the Bible properly, as if he studied it.
Man, he's one of the trash.
Is it a joke?
He's one of the trash bag Edomites.
Come on, man. Look,
trash bag Edomites.
Look, how you gonna kill your kingdom and you like that?
Trash bag.
He's supposed to be ruling. am I supposed to be ruling? Look at him. You think my kingdom I'll be looking like a crackhead? Shame on this Edomite that I brought him don't live, man. You're in your kingdom and you're smart, you're acting like the man is not even in his right mind.
It's a trash bag.
Let's carry on, brother.
Right. Yeah, even going back to the rulership, who's the banking families? You know, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. They own all the international.
And you know
banks.
how powerful is this? When you think the Rothschild, yeah, the real name is the Bauer, and Bauer means peasants. When you go into the prophecy, it tells you that the young brother was going to be strong, like than the bigger brother, the older brother, and then the older brother was going to serve the younger brother.
Exactly.
So, ironically, we've got Rothschild ruling, being elite today.
Yeah.
Right.
But that as well is a prophecy in Genesis 27 that was telling you that at some point Esau was going to have dominion.
The Rockefellers gonna run to the rocks.
Bring Genesis 27, man. It's very powerful.
The Rockefellers gonna run to the rocks, fellas.
Rockefellers? Yes, the Rockefellers.
Right.
What?
The Rockefellers gonna run to the rocks, fellas.
So they say to you that they're the Rockefellers.
And
We
even,
are the people of the rock.
and even going back to the peasants, he was known as the peasants during the medieval time.
Right.
That was the Edomites.
Edomite,
That was the
man.
Caucasians. They're also known as serfs.
The tree.
They were known as villains. They were working the fields. They had the landlord. Who was the landlord? The black nobility. They couldn't even have, they didn't even have the right to own land. They had to work the field in order to have habitation. You know.
Great.
The blessings. I'm on the blessing.
27. Let me start 39. Start 39, man.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 27, verse 39. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above.
Yeah.
Verse 40. And by the sword thou shalt live, and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion.
So it says, by the sword thou shalt live. Like Esau's cold with the sword. You know, that's why he has a huge military base. You know, until Esau came into power, there was no such thing as guns. You know, he really elevated the.
He elevated the game, man. He went boop.
And one thing about Esau feels like he's the man when he holds the trigger, you know?
Yeah.
He feels like no one can basically take him down so far as the gun is in his hand.
Right.
What time go and get him? When once I put a picture of power, when they're trying to fight the gun jump, or they're spitting at that bullet, but he come. Body's like, I don't know, man.
Right.
Body's bulletproof.
Right. They're gonna be confounded.
They're gonna be confounded, man. But they're carnal, man. That's all it takes, and that's it. If you can bring a technology that can overpower his weaponry, he's not gonna bow down. He's gonna say, look, man, I don't want no trouble, man. I'm ready to serve you, man. But you wouldn't like, what?
And even going back to him living by the sword, he's destroyed a lot of the Aboriginal races. He's destroyed a lot of the Aboriginal races of the world.
Right.
Aboriginal Australians, the Aboriginal New Zealanders.
America.
Yeah, exactly. America, those regions are inhabited predominantly by Caucasians. They pushed out these Aboriginal tribes to the wayside.
Even Europe, man. Europe was originally by Japhet.
Oh yeah, yes.
That's a Japhet name, man.
Right.
It's a Japhetic name. When you see Javan, all of those people were the son of Japhet, man.
Right.
But what happened when Alexander the Great came? He just took over, man. Slew all them, and then he changed them. That's why they went into places like Hawaii and other places.
Right.
In there's Australia as well, and there's other places like New Zealand, all of those places, man.
Right, and even alludes to Alexander the Macedonian in the book of Daniel chapter 8. We're going to get that out soon. We finish this verse.
Bring that out.
And by the sword thou shalt live, and thou shalt serve thy brother. And when it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from thy neck.
So when Esau broke the yoke off our neck, that was in reference to Europe when he was ruling in Europe. That was in reference to the indigenous Americans in North, South and Central America, because look at the lands. These lands are predominantly populated by so-called white men. In South and Central America, a lot of them are Edomites. In America, a lot of them are, in North America, a lot of them are Edomites. In Europe, a lot of them are Edomites too. So hey, Esau's real cold with the sword. Starting at verse 3, chapter 8, verse 3.
So Daniel chapter, sorry?
Chapter 8, verse 3.
It's the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 3. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other.
So that's in reference to the Medo-Persian Empire.
Correct.
Wow.
And the higher came up last. Verse 4. I saw the ram push.
The higher that came up last, that was the Persian Empire.
Verse 4. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will and became great. Verse 5. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth.
So that he-goat, that's in reference to Alexander the Macedonian. And conventionally, in conventional history, everyone knows that he's a Caucasian, you know. And there's a reason why it's referenced. There's a reason why he's referenced to as an eagle. It goes back to the stringy hair, you know.
And touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable
When it says he touched not the ground, meaning that it was swift. It was a swift destruction. You know, his army was very
he was quick.
It was quick, very quick. He conquered all these lands in a matter of seconds, pretty much.
And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river.
So yeah, that's in reference to him conquering the Medo-Persian Empire.
And ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram and broke his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him. And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Verse 8. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken. And for it came up.
Yeah, even in the scriptures, the horn is a sign for rulership, a symbol for rulership.
And for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. Verse 9.
So that's it. So the 4 notable ones, that's in reference to the 4 generals of Alexander the Macedonians. So we had Seleucus, who ruled in the Middle East. You had Ptolemy, who ruled in Egypt. You had Cassander, who ruled in Macedonia. And you had Lysimachus that ruled in Thrace. That's in southern Europe. That's near the Balkans. That's those regions over there. So get our Lord's precept in. We're gonna get that out, confirm that in the book of Maccabees, chapter 1, starting at verse 1.
First book, right? It's the first chapter of Maccabees, first book of Maccabees, verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians, and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece, and made many wars and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth. Verse 3. And went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, in so much that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. Verse 4. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. Verse 5. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. So it's like that was verse 5. Verse 6. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honourable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. Verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
So yeah, that's it. So yeah, that pretty much confirms what was stated in the book of Daniel chapter 8, where Alexander the Macedonian, pretty much him and his army took over most of the Middle East, took over Greece, took over Greece. Yeah, he took over the Persian Empire. He took over a lot of these empires, and that's when the Caucasians started ruling. That was pretty much their first rulership. That was when they got a bit of respect amongst other nations, and yeah, from there they ruled the Greco-Roman Empire until somewhere during the 1st century or the 2nd century AD, and yeah, so yeah, that's the Caucasian right there. They're the Edomites in the Bible. So yeah, I hope that brothers and sisters were edified through this lesson about the Edomites. And no, the Caucasian is not the Japhats. The Japhats were a dark-skinned race of people.
That's right.
So yeah, I hope brothers are edified and sisters. So yeah.
With that, we'll give our praises. Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Wahah, Kadesh. Death to Babylon, death to this wicked society, and we're coming. War on the Shirah.